Hi, this is Kelly from the Quilted Windmill, and today I'm going to give you some tips on working with the Cuddle Fabric. Many of you have probably seen Cuddle or Minky or Fireside fabric out there. It's adorable, it's soft, it's really nice to work on the back of a quilt. It makes a very nice quilt itself for a child or for even an adult. Everyone loves it, but they're scared of it. And the reason they're scared of it is because it has a one-way stretch. So it stretches one direction and not the other. And typically in quilting we're used to dealing with cottons and those don't stretch. So the Cuddle scares us a little bit, but if you learn how to deal with it, it's really rather fun to work with. So today I'm going to give you a couple tips, and then I'm going to show you how to construct one of the kits that you may be seeing out there on the market. So one of the big tricks of dealing with Cuddle is to put in a stretch needle, a 90-14 stretch needle in your machine. You're also going to want to be sure and use your walking foot. If you don't have a walking foot, I'll take this one off here so you can see what it looks like. It looks something like this. And that is essential in dealing with the Cuddle because it is going to feed from the top as well as the feed dogs from the bottom. So it helps move through the thicker, slicker fabrics more easily. And you're going to want to be sure and use that when you're dealing with the Cuddle. As far as constructing, so another fear that a lot of people have with the Cuddle is the dust or the mess that it creates. Cuddle dust, we call it. If you would just, it's created when you cut the fabric, and if you would just take it outside and shake it or put it in your dryer for a little bit, it will eliminate that dust. And once it's been cut and de-dusted, then you'll see this piece here is shedding. But once it sheds, its initial shed, it'll be done shedding. So you just want to shake that out after cutting it, and you'll be fine. Another friend when dealing with Cuddle would be your lint brush. Have one of those handy and you'll be a lot happier. Or even your vacuum. I'm going to put together a small child's throw here, and this will give you some idea of how to deal with the Cuddle. We've got a pre-cut kit here from Shannon. And I recommend taking your back and marking your centers both lengthwise and widthwise on your backing so that you know where to position your first strip. They recommend that you center that first strip on your backing, and then you're going to be actually adhering it down with a temporary spray adhesive. I'm using the Sulky, but we also have the 505 available, and both work very well. Some tips in dealing with the adhesive is just be careful of where your overspray is going. It is a temporary adhesive and it will dissipate after time, but it's kind of ugly on carpet and some other surfaces. So you want to be just a little careful about that. I've sprayed that, and I'm just going to position it on my piece here. The lines are helping me center it. As you can see, it's down good. Now, like I said, that's a temporary adhesive. Washing will make it dissipate as well. So no worries about a residue that's going to be there for long term. So then next once you have that adhesive down, you're going to be taking your next strip. And as you can see, this particular one is extra sheddy. So if you would simply put that in the dryer, I think you'd be a lot happier as far as the amount of shed it's creating. All right, then we're going to just put right sides together. So these strips are going to be on both sides of my yellow fabric. Now I would recommend lining up your raw edges that you would pin multiple times along here so that it's not going to shift on you when you get over to your machine. That is another trick of dealing with Cuddle, is just pin. If you're used to sitting down and just sewing, you've got to go back to pinning a lot, because part of the frustration people experience with Cuddle is that it does shift, because it is polyester and it has a slick back and tends to move on you a little bit. So you want to pin a lot. We have several of these kits available. They come in baby sizes, they come in toddler sizes, they come in adult sizes, many different colors and options to choose from with these, and they're just real handy because the strips already come cut. You do a little sub-cutting, but for the most part it's very easy to just sit down and sew with it. Okay, so now I'm ready to go over to my machine, and I'm going to be taking a 1/2 inch seam. As typically in quilting we use the 1/4 inch seam, but that just is too narrow for the Cuddle, and if you use a 1/2 inch seam, you'll notice that it's much more stable and doesn't want to slip away from you under your presser foot. So I'm going to take this over, and when I get this sewn, I'll be right back with you. As I'm sewing this, I would like to remind you that when you're sewing with the Cuddle, extend your stitch length to 3 to 3.5, as that helps the machine feed that Cuddle through at a more even rate. If you have your stitch length at the normal 2.5 or 2.4 that you use for piecing, I think you're going to find that it wants to bunch up. Also think about not pushing or pulling on this fabric. As you remember, I said it does stretch, so just let the machine feed it through. You've got, with the walking foot, it's going to be feeding from the top and from the bottom, and it will feed through evenly if you just guide it and not push or pull on it. Okay, your next step is going to be to spray your second strips down here. I'm just going to put a thin little bit of adhesive there and flip those out, and they're going to be nice and flat. As you'll notice, I'm not using batting today. You can use batting if you want to, or you can choose not to. It's your choice. I kind of like the drapeability that is with this Cuddle fabric when you don't use batting, but you can certainly use it if you want to. Okay, now I have those down, and the next step would be to just add the additional strips and to just progress through the blanket. But as you can see, that lays really nice, and by sewing through all the layers, when I'm finished piecing it, I'm finished quilting it. It's all done in one step. So that's how you work with the Cuddle, and just remember to use your walking foot, don't pull or stretch the fabric, and pin a lot. Hope you enjoy working with Cuddle, and we have plenty for you at the Quilted Windmill. Have a great day.